Chapter 2666. Upon seeing this, Huamin laughed out loud. So, you're thanking me for your hard work? I wouldn't dare, I'm just stating facts. So, the man who has the world, do you have anything to say to me right now? Thank you to my party, thank you to CCTV, thank you to my mother-in-law for having a good daughter, thank you to my daughter for having a good mother. Ha ha ha. Huamin laughed out loud when he saw this. Chief, are you okay? Qinjia was shocked when she came in to deliver the documents. She rarely saw Huamin laugh like this. I'm fine, I'm fine. Huamin waved his hand. Then, she immediately replied to Qin Chu, honey, what's wrong with you today? Why are you so funny? I used to be like this too, Mr. Qin said proudly. Pfft, you didn't. You used to be so serious. Your aura was so cold that it could freeze people. I suspect. I'm chatting with a fake husband. Huamian, you've been quite grumpy lately. I've always been grumpy. It's not like you don't know me well. Okay, eat your food, I'll stop talking. Qin Chu didn't dare to text Huamin too often. So, after a few words, they stopped talking. However, upon seeing how happy Qin Chu was with his head down, Zhang Manlin couldn't help but ask. President Qin, what's making you so happy? Continue. The moment Qin Chu looked up, his face returned to its usual coldness. Oh. He said he's going to marry Yan Ruoshi, it's true. What's the purpose of marriage? Qin Chu raised his eyebrows. He said he's going to use Yan Ruoshi's father's power to expand his business and try to beat you in business, Zhang Manlin said slowly. Are you sure? Qin Chu looked at Zhang Manlin in confusion. He told me himself, I'm not lying to you, President Qin, Zhang Manlin explained anxiously. What's the rush? Did I say I don't believe you? I just think that Hu Xiqin didn't do things like this in the past. Defeating me in business is a little cowardly. Maybe he wants to change his strategy, Zhang Manlin argued. Alright, I understand. Then, can we eat now? I'm starving. Zhang Manlin smiled like a blooming flower. Eat by yourself. I still have things to do. After that, Qin Chu took out his wallet and took out a dozen 100 yuan bills and placed them on the table. Then, he got up and left, Qin Chu. Zhang Manlin looked at Qin Chu's back with disappointment. When Huamin is no longer by your side, you'll know how good I am. Zhang Manlin, I'll make you fall in love with me sooner or later. I don't believe that you won't fall in love with me when I'm prettier and younger than Huamin. After Qin Chu left, Zhang Manlin was no longer in the mood to eat. She picked up the money, paid the bill, and left in a hurry. Late at night, outside the Hua mansion, Miss Yen, why are you here? Oh, I couldn't sleep at home. I suddenly thought of some wedding details and wanted to discuss it with Qian. Miss Yen, you should go back. The boss isn't seeing any guests today. Am I a guest? I'm the woman who's going to marry him. I'll be your boss's wife. Yan Ruoshi was a little angry. Miss Yen, I'm not trying to make it difficult for you, but you really can't. Big brother Qing said so, really. Qing. Ask him to come out. Miss Yen, I'm here. Qing walked out with a strange expression on his face. I want to see Qian. Tell your men to get out of the way. Yan Ruoshi had a temper. No, the boss isn't seeing any guests right now. Qing's tone was very firm, which surprised Yan Ruoshi. Chapter 2669. What do you mean? What do you mean? He disappeared when you came out. What did you do to Chen? Yen Ruoshi was confused by his words. You seem to be quite infatuated with him. Ha! The man laughed coldly. Wait. Ah-ching and the others called you boss. Wait, what's going on? Yen Ruoshi suddenly realized that if the man in front of her wasn't Hua Xichen, Ah-ching and the others wouldn't call him boss. Did Hua Xichen have a twin brother? That didn't make sense. Yen Ruoshi was dumbfounded. The wolf next to Hua Xichen bared its fangs at Yen Ruoshi, eager to pounce. The atmosphere was terrifying. Yen Ruoshi felt that she could become the beast's dinner at any moment. No, you're not Hua Xichen. Are you possessed by a ghost? Yen Ruoshi's eyes widened as she looked at the man in front of her. Other than his appearance, this man didn't look like Hua Xichen at all. His temperament was different, his clothes were different, and even his voice was different. Yet, he appeared in the Hua family mansion. Who on earth could tell her what was going on? Yen Ruoshi felt that she shouldn't stay here any longer. She turned around and ran toward the door, wanting to rush out. The man looked coldly at her running back and smiled viciously. Little wolf, go, play with her. After receiving the order, the wolf rushed out and went straight for Yen Ruoshi. It pounced from behind and bit Yen Ruoshi's clothes. Ah! No! Help! Help! Yen Ruoshi was scared out of her wits. She felt that she was going to die. However, the wolf didn't bite her artery. It just tore at her clothes. It seemed to be teasing her. Yen Ruoshi fell to the ground from the force of the wolf's bite. Then, the wolf pounced on her. Its sharp claws pinned her to the ground. She didn't dare to move. Just like that, one person and one wolf played a cruel game in the dark secret room. Yen Ruoshi was scared out of her wits. The wolf didn't eat her, nor did it bite her to death. Instead, it scratched her with its sharp claws from time to time. His entire body was throbbing with pain. Visually, he still had to watch the beast pounce on him. Mentally, she had already broken down. All that was left was heart-wrenching screams, the howls of the wolves, and Hua Xichen's cold laughter. Downstairs, his subordinates didn't dare to move. Listening to the woman's voice upstairs, they could only express deep sympathy. Brother Cheng, could Miss Yen have been? One of his men asked. Ah-ching shook his head. I'm not sure. I can never guess what the boss is thinking at this moment. Then should we think of a way to save her? Save her? Are you kidding me? The current boss is no longer the same boss as before. If things go wrong, we might even lose our lives. In the past few years, Ah-ching had seen Hua Xichen in this state a few times. He seemed to know the pattern, so he didn't dare to act rashly. He had repeatedly warned Yen Ruoshi not to go upstairs, but what did she do? This woman reaped what she sowed. Who was to blame? After some time, Hua Xichen walked downstairs with a half-mask on his face. Boss. His subordinates were so scared that they trembled. Ah-ching was also very nervous. Boss, are you going out? The woman in the room. Throw her back to where she came from. Yes. Right now. I have more important things to do. After speaking, Hua Xichen quickly left the old mansion. Chapter 2670. Southside Recuperation Center. Although Lu Zhe hadn't withdrawn the charges against Su Yu, Hua Min believed that Su Yu was basically fine. She planned to go to the Municipal Public Security Bureau tomorrow to see him and tell him that the matter was resolved. When Chen Jia left, she sent over the list of new patients in the neurology department. Hua Min happened to be on the night shift and had nothing to do, so she took the information and read it. It was already 11:00 at night. The hospital was also very quiet, especially in the doctor's office. Only Huamin's office was still faintly lit. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and the windows were blown open, making a patter sound. Huamin turned her head, glanced at it, and calmly got up. She was about to close the window, but the moment her hand touched the window, a face appeared. A half-masked face suddenly appeared. Under the illumination of the moonlight, it looked especially pale. He smiled eerily and said to her, "Huamin, we finally meet again." With a clang, Huamin's phone fell to the ground in fright. She stepped back in fear and then turned around and ran. She was too familiar with this feeling. A few years ago, on a dark and rainy night at the GK Corporation, she chased after him. She had been chased by such a person. In the end, she hid in the office and was scared out of her wits. Now that this feeling suddenly appeared, Huamin's first reaction and instinct was to run. Run as far as she could. That man in black was chasing after her. Huamin felt that the footsteps were getting closer and closer, as if that person was going to catch up to her soon. Fortunately, she was familiar with the structure of the hospital. So, she didn't run into a dead end. Because there were surveillance cameras in the corridor. So, Huamin ran and shouted, "Help, someone, help me." However, what she didn't know was that this person had already tampered with the surveillance cameras at South Side before he came. He adjusted the video to a static state. The security guards in the security room yawned sleepily. Everything was normal as they watched the surveillance video. At this moment, no one knew what Huamin was experiencing. "Huamin. You seem to be very afraid of me." The man behind her laughed creepily. Because it was too late to run to the first floor, the stairs were too steep. If he chose to go down, he would be easily caught. Therefore, when Huamin reached the fork in the road, he gritted his teeth and ran towards the rooftop. Hee, this is going to be fun." The man seemed to be very familiar with the structure of the hospital. After laughing coldly, he chased Huamin all the way to the rooftop. Late at night, the cold wind whistled on the rooftop of South Side. Huamin knew that they were already on the top floor. There was nowhere to run. Fortunately, she still had the anesthetic needle on her to protect herself. She cleverly hid the needle in the sleeve of her white coat, planning to find an opportunity to attack. "Run. Why aren't you running anymore?" The man laughed. Huamin turned around. She was panting but didn't say anything. "The 12th floor, If I jump, Chin Chu, Su Yu, and Huasiqian will be very sad. What should I do?" He laughed. "Huasiqian, I know it's you. Don't play tricks with me," Huamin said calmly. "Huasiqian. Oh no, I'm not him. You've got it wrong. I'm not as useless as him. If I came out earlier, you would have been mine long ago. I wouldn't have waited all these years for you." Hearing his words, Huamin suddenly understood. This. Could it be that Huasiqian's second personality had come out? Fuck. This was too fucking unlucky. Chapter 2671. "So, what do you want?" Huamin tried to calm himself down. The man stretched out 2 fingers and smiled coldly. "2 options. First, you come with me. Second, you jump down from here." Huamin turned around and looked behind him. If he jumped down from here, he would die for sure. This wasn't a fantasy movie. She didn't have superpowers and couldn't travel through time. Seeing that Huamin didn't speak, the man continued, "I'm not Huasiqian, so I don't have to worry about his sister's life. I don't love you, so I won't do anything for you like he did. I just want to get and possess you. It's enough to show that I can do what he couldn't do for years in an instant. I'll let him know that it's so easy to defeat him." If it was before, Huamin would have thought these words were ridiculous. However, knowing that Hua Xiqian's second personality came out, he didn't find it strange. As an authoritative neurologist, Hua Mian wasn't as good at psychology as Jiang Xiaowei, but she didn't think she was helpless. If you're not Hua Xiqian, then who are you? You can call me Jack, the man said. Okay, Jack. Then tell me, where are you from? Do you have parents and friends? The man's expression changed slightly. You don't need to know that. Is it because I don't need to know, or is it because you can't tell me? Jack, you have to know that it's sad to live in this world without family or friends and not know where you come from. Hua Mian said deliberately. A godlike person like me doesn't need parents or friends. Only the weak need them. What about Hua Xiqian? Who is he to you? He's my enemy, the man said. Enemy? But why do I feel like you two are brothers who share the same fate? If Hua Xiqian dies, you won't live either. Hua Min tried to brainwash him. You're talking nonsense. Whether he dies or not is his business. I'm the immortal king. The man was a little angry. No, don't lie to yourself. You're living in his body. You're in his body for good or ill. Hua Xiqian loves me a lot. If he finds out that you're treating me like this, he'll be so angry that he'll kill himself. Then, without this body as a vessel, you'll never be able to come out. You'll fall into a deep sleep forever. No matter how powerful you are, it'll be useless. Shut up, you woman. The man was enraged by Hua Min's words. He clenched his fists tightly and walked towards her step by step. However, Hua Min couldn't take another step back. Behind her was the edge of the roof. If she took another step back, she would be smashed into pieces. No one will come to save you today, and you'll become a broken toy for me. The man smiled evilly. Hua Min moved her fingers slightly and flicked out the tranquilizer needle. She was waiting for an opportunity. Just as the man's hand reached for her collar, Hua Min raised her hand and stabbed the needle into the man's shoulder. However, he was blocked by that person in midair. Tranquilizer needle. Child's play. The man twisted his hand and Hua Min's wrist immediately felt a sharp pain. Then, the only weapon in her hand, the tranquilizer needle, fell to the ground with a ding sound. Hua Min's heart sank. She felt like she was going to die this time. Chapter 2672. Hua Xiqian's second personality was different from Hua Xiqian's original personality. Although Hua Xiqian hated her, at least he couldn't bear to hurt her and wouldn't force her to do anything. However, this person was different. This was a completely demonized Hua Xiqian. He could do many unscrupulous things to Hua Min. However, Hua Min's integrity wouldn't allow anything to happen. Therefore, she planned to take Hua Xiqian's second personality with her when the opportunity presented itself. At the very least, she wanted to take him down with her and get rid of Qin Chu's last enemy. If Hua Xiqian died, the country would be peaceful. If she died, Ian wouldn't continue to investigate. Then, Qin Chu and their daughters would be able to live a peaceful and happy life. However, she wouldn't be in his life anymore. Thinking about her beloved husband and daughters, Hua Min's eyes teared up slightly. However, her pride and self-esteem wouldn't allow her to be a coward. She raised her head arrogantly and bit her lip, forcing back the tears that were about to fall. Hua Min, if Qin Chu and Su Yu knew that I took you so easily on the rooftop of the hospital, would they go crazy? The man laughed eerily. Dream on. That's impossible, because... Lin Fan sneered. Hua Min paused deliberately before continuing to laugh in despair. I'm going to drag you down to hell with me. Since both of her hands were restrained by the man, Hua Min suddenly stretched out her leg and pinned it between the man's legs. Then, the center of gravity of his entire body leaned back. Both of them immediately threw themselves backwards. You're crazy. The man didn't expect Hwamin to be so decisive. He didn't show any signs either. Fortunately, he was strong enough to hold on to the iron railing on the edge of the rooftop. She held on to Hwamin tightly. You can let go. After all, I've never been afraid of death. Hwamin smiled. Since he was going to die anyway, why not have some backbone? No wonder she's Chin Chu's woman. She has a backbone. The man was touched by Hwamin's actions. While he wasn't paying attention, Hwamin pulled hard on his wrist. She brought him down the stairs. That scene was extremely thrilling. Fortunately, the demonized Hwasichen had extraordinary skills. When he fell to the 10th floor, he immediately grabbed onto the handrail outside the window. Hwamian, on the other hand, landed on the balcony of the 9th floor, probably because she fell too fast. Therefore, Hwamin's waist was injured, and it seemed that he could no longer move. Hee. Let's see what you're going to do now. The man sneered and got up to jump down from the 10th floor. At this moment, a gunshot was heard from the bottom of the man's foot. It almost hit him. Who's there? He looked around cautiously. Then, he saw a man in black outside the window of the 10th floor, holding a pistol in his hand. So there's reinforcements, hee. Interesting. Jack laughed. The man in black glanced at him. 3 seconds later, he fired 3 shots in a row. However, Jack wasn't an ordinary person. He dodged very quickly and dodged all 3 shots. He didn't know how many people the enemy had, so he decided to retreat first. Okay, that's all for today. Let's play another day. Hwamin. I'll miss you. Before he left, the man blew Hwamin a devilish kiss. After he left, the man in black jumped down from the 10th floor. He helped the injured Hwamin up. You are. Hwamin looked at the man in black who saved him at the critical moment and felt extremely grateful. Chapter 2673. The man in black pulled down his scarf, revealing an unfamiliar face. Madam, I'm Mr. Chin's bodyguard, and I'm here to protect you, the man said. My husband? Hwamin asked uncertainly. The man nodded. Why didn't he tell me? Hwamin bit his lips. Mr. Chin was afraid that you'd feel restricted, so he didn't tell you. The truth is, every day, on your way to and from work, when you're at the hospital, when you're working overtime, when you're performing surgeries, and even when you're out for dinner with friends, there are different bodyguards protecting you. I'm just one of them. So, my husband has been secretly sending a lot of bodyguards to protect me. Hwamin was slightly surprised. The man nodded. Hwamin felt a surge of warmth in his heart. Sure enough, silent actions were always 100 times better than sweet words. Mr. Chin never made any promises, nor did he say anything nice, but the things he did were always so touching. Mr. Chin. I'll talk to him when I have time. I almost thought he was one of Yan's men, who came to save me. Hwamin smiled slightly. Madam, are you talking about the second young lady? It seemed like this bodyguard knew a lot. You know about my sister. Madam, your sister did send someone to protect you in the dark, but I was faster than that person, so he didn't move. You mean? I still have my sister's people protecting me. Hwamian was surprised. Yes. Oh my God. Hwamin thought he was going to die. He didn't think that his loved one would have so many people protecting her. Just now. I thought I would definitely die if I jumped down. Ha! I was scared to death. But speaking of which, since you have so many people protecting me, why didn't you come out earlier? Why did you let me fall down before coming out? If I really fell down, wouldn't I be dead? Huamin felt a lingering fear. That won't happen. We've already planned everything out. Even if you fall, there will be people below to catch you. We won't let anything happen to you. We didn't do it on the rooftop because it's too obvious. There are a lot of surveillance cameras and a lot of people watching. It's too complicated. Once our identities are exposed, it'll cause a lot of trouble. That's why we didn't show up earlier. I see, I understand now. Huamin immediately understood the whole story. Ah. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen. Madam, how are you? The man in black was extremely nervous. I'm fine. Maybe it's because of the shock just now. My stomach hurts a lot. I'll go back and take some medicine. Take me downstairs to my office first. Okay, madam. Slow down and follow me. In the end, Huamin returned to his office with the help of the men in black. Luckily, today was a close call. After they went back, Huamin sent the men in black away. Huamin secretly went to the gynecology examination room and did an ultrasound on himself. He clearly saw the baby's pulse and heartbeat. The little guy is more than 40 days old. You're so stubborn. I hope you'll be fine. Mommy. I'll try my best. Huamin placed his hand on his abdomen. When he got up to go to the bathroom, he found a slight bloodstain on his underwear. It must have been from the shock when he fell off the building. She was very afraid that the baby would miscarry. Although Mr. Qin and the others didn't know, it was still her baby. Chapter 2674. After calming down for 3 seconds, Huamin made a decision. She walked to the innermost part of the clinic and made some medicine to protect the fetus. Then, she injected the medicine into her hip. She gritted her teeth and endured the pain. She had to be careful and steady as she injected herself with the medicine. Finally, exhausted, she went back to her office and fell asleep on her desk. Hua Xiqian didn't come back, probably because he found Huamin was protected by someone. Indonesia, in a small town on the edge of a cliff, Lu Yan sat there with a green bristle in her mouth. Suddenly, her watch rang. Speak. Lu Yan's tone was always domineering. Boss, something happened in China. What happened? Lu Yan asked calmly. Your sister was attacked half an hour ago and fell from the rooftop. Fuck. Say that again. Lu Yan jumped up anxiously and almost dropped her watch. Your sister, how's my sister now? Lu Yan panicked. Your sister is fine. Our people were going to rush up, but someone else beat us to it. She fell from the rooftop to the 9th floor. She might have lost some weight and suffered some minor injuries. It's nothing serious. Boss, please rest assured. Fuck. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You scared me to death, Lu Yan cursed violently. I haven't finished yet. Boss, you're already in a hurry. So, are you blaming me? Lu Yan asked domineeringly. No, no, no. I don't dare to blame you. Cut the crap. Tell me, who dares to touch my sister? I'm going to blow him up. Although Huamin was only slightly injured, Lu Yan couldn't stand it and yelled that she was going to blow him up. It's the demonized Hua Xiqian. What do you mean by demonized Hua Xiqian? Can he transform? Lu Yan asked in a huff. To be exact, it's Hua Xiqian's second personality. Motherfucker, I finally understand that scumbag Hua Xiqian. If he doesn't die, my sister's entire family won't be able to live a good life. Once I'm done with that big pervert, I'm going to slaughter Hua Xiqian. I'll cut him into 8 pieces and feed him to the dogs. Boss, calm down. The problem now is that you should leave Indonesia. Why? Huamin rolled his eyes. Because we received a secret report that Ian's brother, Nalo, will arrive in Indonesia tonight. I'm not even afraid of Ian. Why would I be afraid of his mafia brother? Do you think your boss is a pushover? Lu Yan was always arrogant. Boss, although Nalo isn't a threat, he has Levis by his side. Don't forget, her subordinate reminded Lu Yan. Levis is here. Lu Yan's expression changed. That's right. Boss, you know best how fanatical Reeves' followers are. There's no need for this subordinate to say any more. Nalo bringing Reeves to Indonesia. I feel that something isn't quite right. Boss, you should leave first before anything else happens. Okay, that's all. Then, Lu Yan pressed a button on her watch and put her hands on her hips, looking annoyed. Xiao Fei, pack up, we're leaving, Lu Yan said seriously when she saw Xiao Fei walking towards her. When? Now, immediately, right now. Why are you in such a hurry? What happened? Xiao Fei knew that something must have happened if Lu Yan was in such a hurry. Levis, are you scared? Lu Yan asked Xiao Fei with a smile. Xiao Fei's face fell when he heard the name. Chapter 2675. Why is he here? Xiao Fei asked worriedly. How am I supposed to know? Let's go, let's not waste time with them. 1 against 3, it's not fair. Even if we're immortals, we can't take it anymore. Lu Yan tidied up her long hair and tied it up with a hairband on her wrist, looking neat and tidy. When the breeze blew by, her bangs fluttered in the wind, looking very cool. This Lu Yan was clean and comfortable, she was Xiao Fei's favorite Lu Yan. On the other side, Qin Chu was coaxing his daughter to sleep. Seeing that Huamin wasn't back yet, he didn't dare to call him. He had been pretending to be angry with Huamian and didn't want to fail. Then, he received a call from one of his subordinates. What's wrong? Qin Chu was flustered when he received the call from his secret guard. This was because the Dark Guardian would only call him when something happened. Usually, there was no news from him. Sir, something happened to Madam. Qin Chu's face darkened as soon as the man finished speaking. Where is she? Qin Chu suppressed his anger and asked. Madam is fine. She's only slightly injured. What? She was slightly injured. Qin Chu emphasized the word slightly. Madam fell from the rooftop onto the balcony on the 9th floor. I took care of the problem and sent Madam back to her office. Sir, don't worry, other than our people, Huamin's people are also protecting Madam. With so many people protecting her, how could she be injured? How did you do it? Qin Chu gritted his teeth in anger. Sir, it happened so suddenly that we didn't expect Huasiqian's second personality to come out. He's very strong and is at least twice as strong as the original. That's not a reason. I trained you for so long and spent so much time and money on you so that you can protect my wife. Sir, I'm sorry. What's the point of apologizing? It happened anyway. Where's my wife? Qin Chu gritted his teeth and asked in a low voice. Madam has already returned to her office. Huasiqian, very well. I will make you pay. Then, Qin Chu hung up. The next morning Huasiqian woke up early in the morning and headed out. Good morning, boss. Okay. Huasiqian nodded. When this happened, Qing knew that his boss was normal. The boss was abnormal most of the time at night, and every time, there would be a mysterious tattoo on his face. He would even release the wolf in the secret room. Are we going directly to the corporation? Qing asked. No, I'm going to Yen Ruoshi's house. Boss, last night, Miss Yen. Qing wanted to say something but stopped. I know. You don't have to tell me. Hua Xiqian's expression was calm as he walked straight to his car. Boss, shall I drive you? No, I'll drive myself. Hua Xiqian opened the car door and was about to get in. Suddenly, he felt that something was wrong. Just then, he heard a faint dripping sound. Oh no! Hua Xiqian immediately turned around and dodged to the side. With a loud boom, the entire car suddenly exploded into raging flames. Although Hua Xiqian ran quickly, he was still sent flying by the powerful impact. Boss! Behind him, a few of his subordinates rushed over. Ching was far away, so it wasn't that serious. After the explosion, he immediately got up and ran to Hua Xiqian's side. Chapter 2676. Ahem. The thick smell of smoke made Hua Xiqian cough violently. Boss, are you okay? I'm fine. Hua Xiqian slowly got up with the help of his subordinates. Blood trickled out of the corner of his mouth. Boss, you're bleeding. Quick, call an ambulance, Ching yelled. Qin Chu wants me dead so badly. It seems like my brother Jack did something terrible last night. Hua Xiqian smiled as he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Boss, it's my fault. I didn't notice the bomb in the car. Ching lowered his head guiltily. It's not your fault. Technology is so advanced now. He used a hacker to implant a virus in my car. It could cause the car's system to go haywire and then make it explode. Hua Xiqian analyzed calmly. It seems like we need to be more careful. We need to ask Zhang Manlin why she didn't know anything about such a big thing. Ching's face was full of hatred. It's not her fault. Qin Chu won't care about a pawn like her. Do you really think Qin Chu will fall in love with her? What a joke. I just wanted to use her to confuse Qin Chu. Plus, he won't really believe Zhang Manlin. Boss, if that's the case, then Zhang Manlin is useless. We can kill her anytime. No, we have to keep her. She'll be useful in the future. Hua Xiqian licked his lips. Just then, the ambulance arrived. Ching followed Hua Xiqian into the ambulance. As soon as Hua Xiqian lay down, he saw a nurse with a mask drawing his blood. He immediately grabbed the nurse's hand. What are you doing? I'm drawing your blood so we can analyze your condition. We can save a lot of time at the hospital. Sir, don't be afraid. You're a nurse. Hua Xiqian narrowed his eyes and asked. Of course. Haha, that's really strange. Nurses often hold needles, so they should have gentle hands, not a pair of calloused hands. Hua Xiqian grabbed the nurse's hands tightly and realized that they were indeed full of calluses. Ah. I was born in the countryside. When I was young, I did farm work with my parents. My skin is not as smooth as the girls in the city, the nurse explained. Your explanation is very smart. But don't you know that only people who use guns will have calluses on their hands? When the nurse heard this, she couldn't hide it any longer. She immediately took out her gun and pointed it at Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian did not give her the chance to shoot. The two of them immediately started fighting in the ambulance. Ching also started arguing with the driver in the front. The car swerved left and right, almost colliding with the cars passing by, causing a pileup. GK headquarters, President Qin, you might not be able to kill Hua Xiqian by doing this. He's very cunning. Who said I'm going to kill him? Qin Chu said coldly with his hands behind his back. Then what are you doing? Even if I can't kill him now, I can't let him have a good time. Just as Hua Xiqian and the female assassin were fighting, a big truck suddenly rushed towards them. It was heading straight for the ambulance. The driver immediately jumped out of the car and ran. Ching turned around and yelled, "Boss, it's dangerous, jump out of the car." Then, they jumped out together. With a loud crash, the big truck smashed into the ambulance. Hua Xiqian fell to the side of the road. Before he could stand up, a black pistol was pressed against his temple. "Now, you're dead." The female assassin smiled proudly. Maybe he would have some recollection of them as his brain replayed them. If no one told him, he wouldn't even know that he was the one who forced Huamin to jump off the building last night. In Hua Xiqian's world, and in Ching's eyes, Jack and Hua Xiqian were two completely different people. They just shared the same body. Hua Xiqian loved Huamin deeply. He couldn't bear to hurt her and would even die for her. Jack didn't love Huamin, but he knew that Hua Xiqian loved her deeply. That was why he always wanted to destroy and possess her. The car slowly stopped in front of the Yen mansion. Hua Xiqian got out of the car and walked in. "What are you doing here? Look at what you've done to my daughter." Mrs. Yen looked at Hua Xiqian angrily. Chapter 2678. Where's Yen Ruoshi? Hua Xiqian asked coldly. "Get out of here. Don't think you're all that just because you're filthy rich. My daughter is stupid to like you. Look at how you've hurt her. Is she upstairs?" Hua Xiqian asked and rushed upstairs. "What are you doing?" "I'll call the police." Mrs. Yen roared. "Call the police?" "Sure. I happen to have some evidence of Mayor Yan's corruption and bribery. The police would be interested as well." Hua Xiqian turned around and sneered. "You," Mrs. Yen immediately shut up when she heard Hua Xiqian's words. Hua Xiqian went upstairs and pushed open the door to Yen Ruoshi's room. Yen Ruoshi had been covered in wounds since last night, but she didn't dare to go to the hospital. She was afraid that the media would follow her and smear her father's reputation, so she had to hire a private doctor to bandage her wounds. Fortunately, her wounds weren't serious, but she was still traumatized. Yen Ruoshi didn't dare to close her eyes to sleep. Even if she was sleepy, she had to keep the lights on and her eyes open. As soon as she closed her eyes, the image of the evil wolf would appear in front of her. You, get out. I don't want to see you." Yen Ruoshi trembled when she saw Hua Xiqian and covered her head with her hands. "You saw him?" Hua Xiqian asked. "Who? Isn't that you? Why else would he be at your house?" Yen Ruoshi said in a trembling voice. "That's not me. That's my twin brother." Hua Xiqian made up an excuse. After all, he didn't want anyone to know about his split personality. "Twin brother? You? When did you have a twin brother? Why didn't anyone mention it?" Yen Ruoshi crawled out of the quilt and looked at him curiously. "It's because my younger brother is mentally ill. He's been mentally ill since he was young, so my biological parents sent him to the countryside. Later, I pitied him and brought him back. Unfortunately, he's mentally ill. He's very ill and harms people everywhere. I can only lock him in the secret chamber." "What's with the wolf?" Yen Ruoshi asked. "Wolf grew up with him in the mountains, so he wanted to come with him. I locked him up. Last night, when I was delivering food to him, he knocked me out. After I was locked up, he ran out and pretended to be me. I heard from Ching that he had done a lot of terrible things, right? Ruoshi. I'm sorry. I apologize on behalf of my brother, Jack." Hua Xiqian reached out his hand and placed it on Yen Ruoshi's. "Is he really your brother?" Yen Ruoshi was confused. "Yes, because it's a family scandal, I've been hiding it." Ruoshi, you'll help me hide it, right? You won't tell anyone, right? Hua Xiqian asked. I won't. Don't worry, Qian. I won't tell anyone. Thank you, Ruoxin, Qian. About the wedding at the end of the month, we will hold the wedding as usual. Hua Xiqian smiled slightly. Do we need to get a marriage certificate? Yan Ruoshi asked. A cold glint flashed across Hua Xiqian's eyes, and then he smiled. Let's make it up after the wedding. My ID card and some of my company's documents have been checked overseas. I'm planning to expand my company overseas, right? Oh, I see. Okay, I'll do as you say. You're not feeling well. Take care of yourself. Hua Xiqian patted Yan Ruoshi's head. Okay. After dealing with Yan Ruoshi, Hua Xiqian went back to work at the Hua Corporation. GK headquarters, President Qin, Misha failed her mission and was shot to death by Hua Xiqian's men. Her body was dumped in the junkyard. Qin Chu's face darkened and he clenched his fists. Chapter 2679. Got it. Qin Chu's tone was indifferent. President Qin, Hua Xiqian is a lunatic. He doesn't care about human lives. Are we really going to fight against him like this? Do you really have to sacrifice so many people's lives? The subordinate asked, not knowing the difference between life or death. What else can we do? Do I have to watch him bully my wife and child? Qin Chu asked. The man was silent. I didn't want Misha to die. Of course, I want her to kill Hua Xiqian. She's an assassin, so she has to take the risk of dying, right? President Qin is right. Tell the others to give a large sum of money to Misha's family as compensation. Qin Chu wasn't cold-blooded. He just felt that he couldn't just sit around and wait for death. He was too passive. His Mian almost died. Just thinking about it scared him. President Qin, Misha, doesn't have any family left, the man said slowly. If that's the case, then donate it to charity. Think of it as doing good for Misha. Qin Chu waved his hand and signed the check. He never cared about spending money. He was sad that his assassin died, but for Hua Xiqian, sacrifices were inevitable. 7:30 a.m. Hua Min woke up tiredly in his office. He washed his face and drove out without makeup. It was 8 a.m. when he arrived at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. I'm looking for Director Gao. He asked. Gao ran to lead the way. Hua Min saw Suyu again. He thought he was still as haggard and unshaven as before. To his surprise, Suyu was even more handsome than usual. Wow, you've been doing well these days, Hua Min joked. I can't give up on myself. It's not a murder case. Lu Zhe doesn't like to talk to me in private. I'll save money. I'll just go abroad for a while. Mian, you guys talk. I have to go to a meeting, Gao Ran said. All right. Hua Min nodded. After Gao Ran left, Hua Min placed the lunchbox on the table. Wow, is it breakfast? Suyu was ecstatic. Yes. Dr. Hua, why are you being so nice today? You're making it sound like I'm going to the execution ground to be beheaded. Are you giving me my last meal? Suyu joked. Get lost, don't talk nonsense. Hua Min didn't want to listen to Suyu's ominous words. Opening the food box, Suyu was slightly moved, and a trace of warmth appeared in his eyes. You still remember my preferences, Suyu said slowly. Of course, I stayed at your place for so long when I was pregnant. How could I forget such a small thing? I'm a Virgo. Hua Min smiled. Inside the lunchbox were exquisite shrimp dumplings, crab roe dumplings, and stir-fried rice noodles. They were all Suyu's favorite dishes. They even drank Suyu's favorite soy milk. You bought too much, Dr. Hua. I can't finish it all myself. What a waste. Suyu mumbled as he ate. Damn, that's for two. Fine, I haven't eaten yet. Suyu felt slightly awkward. Huamin ignored Suyu's awkwardness and picked up his chopsticks to eat as well. Suyu didn't expect that after Huamin left the Su family, the first time they had breakfast alone was at the Municipal Public Security Bureau. It really was something else. Lord Su, you'll be leaving soon. If I'm not wrong, Lu Zhe will drop the charges against you in 2 days, Huamin said calmly. What? Did you find someone to threaten him? Suyu asked calmly. Huamin almost spat out the shrimp dumplings in his mouth. Chapter 2680. What's with that look on your face? Suyu couldn't help but ask upon seeing Huamin's expression. Big bro, am I that kind of person? Do you think I'd threaten her? Huamin chuckled as he ate. Then how did you deal with that little bastard? Don't tell me you used a honey trap. Suyu smacked his lips and looked at him with his adorable eyes. Honey trap? You must be joking. With my looks, no one would be interested in me. So, how did you get that guy to withdraw his lawsuit? Suyu was even more curious. Then, Huamin calmly told Suyu about getting Lin Mingyu to re-examine his wound and Zhao Qingya's younger sister. Holy shit. Dr. Hua, I really want to worship you. Huamin was speechless. In the future, I'll bow down to you, Huamin. Your brain is better than all of ours. Grandpa even said that he'd let me go abroad for medical treatment, but you got it done so easily. Suyu looked at Huamin with admiration. Who said that men didn't love smart women? Those who didn't love smart women were usually men with low IQ. Men with high IQ preferred women with high IQ. Otherwise, it would be tiring to have idiots around him. For example, Suyu would never fall in love with Zhao Qingya, Mian, and Qin Chu would never fall in love with pretentious women like Song Yishe or Zhang Manlin. They always thought that they were smart, but compared to Huamin's great wisdom, they were nothing. Don't be so sure. After all, that guy hasn't withdrawn his lawsuit yet. I'm just guessing. If nothing unexpected happens, he'll withdraw his lawsuit in 2 days. After all, he's not stupid. He won't continue doing things that harm others without benefiting himself, especially when he realizes that the situation isn't beneficial to him. Mian, I can't thank you enough for treating me like this. Suyu looked at Huamin tenderly. You don't have to thank me. This is what I should do as a friend. Actually, the people who truly care about you would never rush over just because of your light. Instead, when they saw you struggling to move forward in the mud, they would ignore your sorry state and gently reach out to you. And you are the person who reached out to me when I was in dire straits. What I am doing now is merely repaying your kindness, just like what you did to me back then. Hey, it's just a trivial matter. Are you going to remember it for the rest of your life? Suyu scratched his head, obviously embarrassed. In the past few years, Huamin seemed to have been constantly talking about the kindness of the Su family. Suyu also felt embarrassed. Yes, I want to remember it for the rest of my life. Huamin was very serious. What about me? Mian, will you remember me for the rest of your life? No matter what happens in the future, no matter if I'm alive or dead, no matter if I'm happy, no matter if I'm still by your side, will you always remember me? Suyu suddenly became emotional. I will remember you for the rest of my life. The 2 words, Suyu, in my heart, to me, will always mean that you are my most important friend, Huamin said. Then, what if I compared you to Qin Chu? If one day, Qin Chu and I were in danger, who would you save? Suyu knew that this question was silly, but he still asked it foolishly. Suyu. Huamin wanted to say something but stopped. It's okay. Just tell me the truth. I won't be angry. I know what I'm capable of. Suyu smiled with tears in his eyes. He obviously didn't have enough confidence. Chapter 2681. I'll save you, Huamin said. What? Suyu thought he heard wrong, so he asked again. I'll save you. Dr. Hua, don't joke around. I'm serious, can you stop joking with me? Suyu obviously didn't believe him. I'm not joking. Huamin's expression was serious. Then if you save me, what about Qin Chu? Suyu felt his heart race. Could it be that Huamin liked him? Or maybe it was because she was married to Qin Chu that she couldn't break free from the shackles of morality. For a moment, his mind was filled with all kinds of thoughts. I'll save you, but I'll die with Mr. Qin, Huamin added. Suyu suddenly understood, but then, a hint of disappointment flashed across his eyes. So that's how it is. Ha! I knew it, such a big raindrop wouldn't fall on my head, ha ha ha. Suyu pretended to be cheerful. Huamin wanted to say something to comfort Suyu, but he suddenly heard the sound of the door opening. It was Gao Ran. I have good news and bad news. Suyu, which one do you want to hear first? Gao Ran asked in all seriousness. Gao Ran looked so handsome in his police uniform that even Zhu Lingling became a fangirl. Let's talk about the good news first. My heart isn't very good, I'm afraid it'll explode after hearing the bad news. Suyu joked. Ahem, the good news is Lu Zhe just came over and signed the papers. He wants to cancel the charges against you and is willing to settle privately. What so fast? Is Huamin a clairvoyant? Suyu looked at Huamin happily. Huamin wasn't surprised at all because he had expected it. What about the bad news? Suyu glanced at Gao Ran and asked. Cough cough cough, listen well, the bad news is, from today onwards, you can no longer freeload off our Public Security Bureau for free. That's all. Suyu was stunned. Yes. Gao Ran nodded. Fuck your grandpa, are you trying to scare me to death? What kind of bad news is this? Suyu realized that he had been teased. He picked up the tissue on the table, crumpled it into a ball, and threw it at Gao Ran's head. Ha ha ha. Alright, let's stop fooling around. Lord Su, hurry home. Your family must be worried sick. Auntie Su has called several times. Got it. Let's go now. Suyu stood up with a whoosh, looking as if he had been rejuvenated. Let's go to my place for dinner, Suyu invited. Didn't you just have breakfast? Why are you still eating? Huamin laughed. Yeah, I can do whatever I want. I'll ask my mom to make you Australian lobsters and hairy crabs. Knowing that Huamin loved seafood, Suyu tried to tempt him with delicious food. Huamin looked down at his watch. No, I need to talk to Xiao Wei. Talk to her about what? Talk about old times. I've been so busy recently that I don't have time to hang out with my girlfriends. Okay then, take Little Bean and Pudding with you in a few days. Grandpa misses them, Suyu said. Okay. Just like that, Suyu finally walked out of the Public Security Bureau unscathed. After being locked up for a few days, he was bored out of his wits. When Suyu walked out, and drove his Lamborghini to the door. Then, the two of them left as fast as lightning. Did anything happen at the company while I was gone? Suyu asked In, who was sitting in the passenger seat. Yes. Because you were detained, our company was affected by negative news and the stock market plummeted. A few artists also left, but they're all new. It's not a big problem, Suyu said. The stock market dropped by more than 1 billion yuan, and said. That's not a big deal. 1 billion yuan was nothing to Suyu. Last night, President Hua was chased down at South Side. He fell from a building and was injured. Which President Hua? Suyu asked nonchalantly. Hua Min. Hearing En's words, Suyu stepped on the brakes and stopped the sports car at an intersection. Chapter 2682. What did you just say? Suyu stared at En with his eyes wide open. Didn't you ask me to secretly protect President Hua? My people have been secretly watching. Hua Min was attacked last night. Luckily, her husband's people appeared in time to save her. But I think she's still injured, so she was resting in the office last night. Damn, why didn't you say so earlier? Suyu felt extremely guilty. He didn't know that Hua Min was injured and ate the breakfast she brought. He really didn't know that something so big happened last night. Didn't I just get the chance to see you? And felt wronged as well. Who's the bastard? Fuck, I'm going to kill him. Hearing that Hua Min was injured, Suyu couldn't take it anymore. Hua Xiqian did it. Fuck, it's him again. Suyu gripped the steering wheel tightly. Just then, the traffic light turned green. Suyu was still at the crossroad, which greatly affected the traffic. The cars behind him were already honking like crazy, which was very annoying. Suyu opened the door and walked out. He pointed at the cars behind him and cursed, "Fuck, are you guys in a hurry to reincarnate? I'm in a bad mood, so I don't want to leave. If anyone dares to say anything else, I'll smash their car into scrap metal." Hearing Suyu's words, the cars immediately quieted down. Not a single sound could be heard. Everyone knew that this was the young master of the Su family, so who dared to provoke him? Not far away, 2 traffic police officers walked over. They wanted to see who was so brave to block the traffic and even shout at them. However, when they got closer, they immediately smiled. "Young Master Su, it's you. What's wrong?" Suyu looked up and glanced at the traffic police. "Oh, nothing. We just came to ask if you need any help." The traffic police suddenly had an idea and changed his words. "I really do. Go and tell the cars behind to be quiet. If they don't stop honking, I'll smash them all." Yes, I'll go right now." After Suyu sat back in his car, his face looked terrible. Knowing that his boss was throwing a tantrum, Shaoan was also very nervous. However, he still bravely advised, "President Su, I know that you want to kill Hua Xiqian, but now is not a good time to cause trouble. You were just released from the municipal bureau. I suggest that you calm down first." "Yes, I know what I'm doing. I won't be so impulsive." After that, Suyu stepped on the accelerator and left the intersection. "Jiang Shaowei, office of the municipal bureau, Mian, are you here to see Lord Su?" Jiang Shaowei smiled. "Yes, his matter has been settled. He has already left. I've heard about it. You're awesome. You solved it so quickly." Jiang Shaowei made a cup of coffee for Hua Min. "Shaowei, haven't we discussed Hua Xiqian's split personality before?" Hua Min suddenly brought up this topic. "Yes, why?" Jiang Shaowei nodded. "Last night, I saw his second personality." "No, to be exact, it was the second time I saw it." Huamin still had lingering fears when he thought of that scene. She always thought of herself as a brave girl who would not be easily scared. However, when she thought of Hua Xiqian's second personality, Huamin still felt goosebumps all over her body. What is it like? Jiang Xiaowei was also scared out of her wits. It's very sick, completely different from Hua Xiqian. Last night, I almost died in his hands, Huamin said word by word. Jiang Xiaowei's expression changed when she heard this. Chapter 2683. You're right. If that's the case, then this is going to be troublesome. Jiang Xiaowei's expression was serious. I know you're an expert in psychology, so can you help me analyze his situation? If he kills someone, will he be held criminally responsible? This is a type of mental illness, right? Huamin had discussed this issue with Jiang Xiaowei before, but at that time, they only analyzed it on a superficial level. They didn't delve too deeply into it. Now that Huamian had witnessed Hua Xiqian's second personality erupt again and said so many correct words, Huamian knew she had to do something or she would be in a passive position. What worried her the most wasn't that Hua Xiqian's second personality would hurt her or Qin Chu. After all, they were both adults and had the ability to protect themselves. What Huamin was most afraid of was that Hua Xiqian would hurt her twin daughters. Jiang Xiaowei was silent for a moment, and then slowly said, according to Article 18 of our country's criminal law, if a mentally ill person can no longer recognize or control his or her own actions and causes harm to others, and if necessary, the government will step in to supervise and force him or her to take care of him or her. Simply put, he or she will be locked up in a mental hospital. If a mentally ill person commits a crime when he or she is mentally normal, he or she will be held criminally responsible. If a mentally ill person who hasn't completely lost the ability to recognize or control his or her own actions commits a crime, he or she will be held criminally responsible. However, they can be dealt with lightly or with a reduced punishment, so we can't generalize. It depends on the situation at the time. What you're saying is, if Hua Xiqian is himself and he kills someone, he will need to be held responsible, and he will be given a lighter punishment. Yes, that's what I'm saying. The premise is that he has intermittent mental illness. Split personality is a type of intermittent mental illness in our psychological definition. When he doesn't act up, he's like a good person, but when he acts up, he's not him anymore, Jiang Xiaowei explained. Huamin was silent upon hearing this. Huamin, what are you worried about? Jiang Xiaowei noticed Huamin's concern and asked. Wei, do you think Hua Xiqian has a dissociative identity disorder, or is he faking it so that he won't have to take legal responsibility in the future? So that's what you're worried about. That's really hard to say. Jiang Xiaowei was also confused. But Mian, you saw it with your own eyes. You're so smart, can't you tell the difference? Huamin shook his head. Hua Xiqian isn't stupid. I was afraid that he was just putting on an act for me to see. But when I saw Song Yisher's notes, I felt that it was real. But I also felt that something wasn't right. I couldn't tell. You're probably thinking too much. Maybe he's mentally ill. I plan to have a chat with Jiang Hong when I have the chance. Jiang Hong. Hua Xiqian's foster mother. Jiang Xiaowei was surprised. Yeah, she raised Hua Xiqian since he was a child. If he really has a dissociative identity disorder, then she should know about it. Dissociative identity disorder is very common. Split personality disorder is actually very common. When I was studying abroad, I heard from my tutor that there was an auntie in the United States in her 40s who had at most 20 different personalities. One of them could even speak French, but the truth is, this auntie had never been to France and couldn't speak a word of French. So, this incident made her husband feel very strange. Split personality disorder is a type of mental illness, but if you look deeper, it can be considered a supernatural event. Jiang Xiaowei smiled. Huamin was just about to speak when he received a call from Little Bean. Baby, what's wrong? Huamin's tone was gentle. Mommy, come back quickly. Daddy's angry. It's scary. Little Bean said mysteriously. Chapter 2684. Huamin didn't know what to say. What's wrong? Jiang Xiaowei asked curiously when she saw Qin Chu's strange expression. Little Bean said her daddy is angry. It's scary. How? Did you do something to upset him again? Jiang Xiaowei laughed at Qin Chu's misfortune. Ahem. Whatever, let's go back first. Okay, call me when you have time. Jiang Xiaowei waved goodbye to Huamin. After leaving the bureau, Huamin drove back to South Hill Manor. On the way home, he was still nervous. Why was Mr. Qin angry? He wasn't a bad-tempered person. Was it because Qin Chu went to the bureau to see Su Yu and by breakfast this morning? That shouldn't be the case. Qin Chu knew about his relationship with Su Yu. Huamin was nervous the whole way home. When he got home, he realized something was wrong. Qi Ning put on her makeup and was about to go out. Sis-in-law, I'm going to the mall to buy something with Tang Chuan. Aren't I taking my nieces back to the States tonight? Tang Chuan is going back too. Huamin asked. Yeah, he can't leave me now, Qi Ning said happily as she walked out. Suddenly, she thought of something and turned around. She said mysteriously, Sis-in-law, my brother's not in a good mood today. Take it easy, good luck, hey. Don't go. What's wrong with him? Before Huamin could ask, Qi Ning had already walked out the door. The flight was supposed to be at 10 p.m. tonight. Qi Ning, Tang Chuan, Qin Chu's parents, and the twins were going back to the States. Huamin didn't think much of it because he always thought Mr. Qin didn't want to leave his daughters. When he said he was sending them away, it was actually a trap. Mian, you're back. Where did you go last night? Lady Qin walked out of the kitchen. I'm on duty, Mom. Chu is not in a good mood. He didn't seem to sleep much last night. When I woke up early in the morning and went downstairs to get some water, I saw that the light in the study was still on. Mom, what happened to him? I don't know. With his personality, who would dare to ask? Your father and I don't even dare to ask. All right, I'll go take a look then. Yes, he's in the study. Where's the bean and pudding? Grandpa took the two of them out to play. The two children don't want to leave here. When they heard that they are going to America, they hurriedly went to buy some ingredients that are not available there. They are afraid that they won't be able to eat them in America. Lady Qin smiled. These two little gluttons, Huamin sighed and turned to go upstairs. It was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Qin Chu should be working at GK at this time of the day, but he was still in his study today, which was very unusual. Huamin felt a little guilty. Although he didn't know what mistake he had made, he still decided to try peaceful means before resorting to force. She made a cup of coffee and brought it to the door of the study. Then, she knocked on the door, "Come in." Qin Chu's voice was as cold as ever. Honey, why didn't you go to the company today? After Huamin closed the door, she ran over to Hua Xichen. Knowing that there were no bugs in the study, Huamian could show off her affection without any restraint. So, how were your injuries last night? Qin Chu didn't answer her question. Instead, he asked a question of his own. Honey, about last night, thank you for arranging people to protect me. It was so dangerous, I was almost scared to death. Huamin brought up what happened last night. So, you were brave enough to jump off the building with Hua Xiqian, abandoning me and our daughters, right? Qin Chu asked expressionlessly. Chapter 2685. I didn't. You didn't what? You didn't jump off the building? Qin Chu asked with a cold expression. No, I didn't abandon you guys. Honey, don't yell at me, okay? We've been pretending so hard to get intimate with you in the study. Huamin hugged Qin Chu's neck from behind and pressed his face against Qin Chu's. Huamin wasn't good at acting like a spoiled child, and no one else could see it. It was Qin Chu's specialty. So, every time he made a mistake, Huamin would try to act like a spoiled child before Qin Chu got angry. It worked every time, but this time, it didn't seem to be that simple. Come on, don't think I'll forgive you if you act like a spoiled child. Can I seduce you? Huamin pursed his lips and purposely tugged at his collar. Qin Chu glanced at his exposed skin and gulped. Pretending to be calm, he continued, You can't seduce me either, Mian. Do you know how stubborn you were this time? I know, but I'm fine, right? Huamin smiled. Don't always think that you're lucky. That's not right, it's a risk. I can't take that risk, do you understand? Qin Chu continued with a dark expression. I understand, honey. You've been sending me to protect me, and I just found out. I thought you'd already sent those people away. Of course not, as long as Hua Xiqian is alive, I won't let my guard down. It's just that when my men came back and reported to me, I was so angry that I almost exploded. Qin Chu was still angry. What did your men say? Huamin hugged Qin Chu's neck like a spoiled child. He was no longer the dignified vice director he usually was. My men said, just as they were about to save you, they saw you jump off the building with Hua Xiqian. You were scared, right? Huamin laughed out loud. How dare you laugh, Huamian, aren't you a little shameless? Qin Chu was speechless. He was scared out of his wits, but this woman treated it like a joke. How could she be so wicked? Aren't I fine now? Stop talking about now. Let me ask you, if you fell over 10 floors, do you think you could survive? Qin Chu asked coldly. I didn't think so much, Huamian's huazes, Huamian, huatesest, teet. What teet chut, honey, you're still mad. Haven't I always been mad? Qin Chu asked. Don't be mad, okay? I'll treat you to Oaxayan's ramen, Huamin suggested. It's 2 yuan a bowl, I don't need you to treat me, Qin Chu retorted. Then I'll treat you to 4 pounds of Australian lobster, Huamin said without hesitation. My stomach hurts from eating seafood, Qin Chu said angrily. Then what should I do? Honey, give me a chance, even if I'm a murderer, you can't just sentence me to death. You're worse than a murderer, no murderer can be as willful as you. You don't care about me and our daughter. You shouldn't be called Huamin tomorrow, you should be called Hero Hua. You're so brave. Huamin. Chapter 2686. Honey, are you kidding me? Huamin couldn't help but laugh. Do I look like I'm kidding? Qin Chu's face was as dark as it could get. Then what do you want? Huamin was helpless. Huamin couldn't coax Huamin, so what could he do? I don't want to see you. Okay, then I'll leave. Huamin stood up to leave. Come back here. Qin Chu couldn't sit still anymore. Didn't you tell me to leave? Hua Min smirked. I said I don't want to see you, but I didn't say you could leave, Mr. Qin said domineeringly. Damn it, then why should I stay? Do I need a cloth to cover my face and pretend to be a statue? Hua Min rolled his eyes. That's a good idea, Qin Chu said. Hua Min was speechless. Why aren't you covering your face? Do you need me to help you? Qin Chu calmly glanced at Hua Min's face. No, honey, that's cruel to me. Hua Min cried and begged for mercy. Now you know it's cruel. Where's the bravery you had when you jumped off the building? Hua Mian, I've known you for so many years, but I never thought you'd want to die with Hua Xiqin. I'm so angry, Qin Chu repeated. Hua Min finally heard the main point. Qin Chu was angry because he thought she wanted to die with Hua Xiqin, ha ha ha. Mr. Qin, let me explain. Hua Min was anxious to explain. Wait, let's put this aside for now. Explain to me why you brought breakfast to Suyu this morning. How did you know about that? Did Gao Ran snitch? That untrustworthy guy. Hua Min secretly gritted his teeth. No, it has nothing to do with Gao Ran. It was Suyu who posted it on his moments. What moments? Let me see. Hua Min had been busy and didn't have time to check his moments, so he didn't pay attention to it. Qin Chu took out his phone, opened Suyu's moments, and showed it to her. Suyu attached a picture of the breakfast and wrote, "The breakfast sent by the vice president is really delicious." Fuck. Suyu actually betrayed me. Hua Min didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can explain it now, Qin Chu raised a hand and tapped the table with his slender fingers. He looked like he was going to impeach Hua Min. Honey, how come you have Suyu's WeChat? Didn't you say you didn't want to add him? Hua Min smiled mischievously. Hua Mian, please don't change the subject. Answer my question directly. Ha. I'm not changing the subject. What I mean is, I've been investigating how Lu Zhe framed Suyu. You know, Lu Zhe's girlfriend is Xiao Xia, Xiao Qingya's sister. She died at Suyu's house, so Lu Zhe has been trying to get revenge. What does this have to do with you bringing breakfast to Suyu? It's shrimp dumplings and crab roe dumplings. I don't even have such a sumptuous breakfast at home. Hua Mian, are you cheating on me because I've been too busy lately? Qin Chu questioned. Ahem, you think too highly of me, Mr. Qin. I'm about to turn old, of course I wouldn't cheat on you, haha, Hua Min explained awkwardly. So, you've made so many mistakes, how should I punish you? Qin Chu stood up and slowly turned around. He walked towards Hua Min step by step. We've been married for so long, let's forget about the punishment. Ha, I'll be more careful next time. Hua Min tried to get away with it. How can that be? How about, we exercise until the sun rises? After speaking, Qin Chu violently tore off his tie, revealing a large part of his shirt. Chapter 2687. But you just said that seduction doesn't work. Hua Min looked down on Mr. Qin. That means that seducing me doesn't work, but it doesn't mean that seducing you doesn't work either. Fine, you win. I didn't know that Mr. Qin could be so shameless. Hua Min was completely convinced. So, are you on top or bottom? Mr. Qin asked directly. Ahem, can you not? Hua Min looked at Mr. Qin pitifully. No. But I'm on my period. Hua Min lied. That's impossible. I remember your period better than you. It's not one of these days. Qin Chu was adamant. Damn it, it's a sudden visit, okay? Min was speechless. Then you can take off your pants and I'll check, Chin Chu said calmly. Min was speechless. You're good, you did something wrong and you want to get away with it. That's impossible, so don't even think about running away tonight. God knew how long Chin Chu had been holding it in. He almost had sexual dysfunction. Wait, honey. Min crossed her arms in front of her chest. What now? We really can't, we can't do that. Why? She felt that Min wasn't in the right mood today. Every time he wanted her, although she was shy, she would still cater to him. But today, she actually rejected him a few times. It didn't seem like she was playing hard to get. Honey, I'll tell you the truth. Don't get agitated, listen to me calmly. Haha. Min took a deep breath and decided to tell him about the baby in her belly. After all, she couldn't hide it anymore. As a doctor, she knew that she couldn't have sex with her husband in the first 3 months of pregnancy. She couldn't have a miscarriage. Therefore, Min gathered his courage and decided to tell Mr. Chin the good news. Okay, tell me. I want to see what other tricks you can come up with. Chin Chu stared at Min's face with interest. Honey, actually, I already. Min was just about to say something when Chin Chu's phone rang. What is it? Chin Ning's call at this time was really disappointing, so Chin Chu's attitude was very unpleasant. Big brother, something happened to my nieces. Chin Ning's voice trembled. What do you mean? Speak slowly. Chin Chu's expression changed. Big brother, when Uncle brought the twins home, Little Bean wanted to go to the food street to buy some snacks to eat, but there were too many people there and the kids suddenly disappeared. Uncle was so worried that he didn't dare to tell you. Tang Chuan and I searched for them for a long time, but we couldn't find them. I think I should tell you. You said. Little Bean and Pudding are both missing. Chin Chu repeated coldly. Hearing Chin Chu's words, Min's body shook and a pot of flowers behind him fell to the ground. Honey, what happened to the kids? Min panicked. Did you call them? Chin Chu asked calmly. I did, but their phones were turned off. Chin Ning was anxious. Where are you now? Chin Chu asked. We're at the food street. We're still looking. I'm thinking if we should call the police. Don't call the police yet. I'll go take a look. Then, Chin Chu hung up the phone and got up to get his jacket. Honey, what happened? Min's face turned pale. The kids are missing, Chin Chu said with a heavy heart. Both are missing. Min's heart sank and his brain buzzed. Chapter 2688. Okay. Chin Chu nodded. Min's heart sank. Then, the couple drove out to look for them. At the food street, Chin Chu, Min, and Chin Ning met up with Tang Chuan. At this moment, Mr. Chin's face was covered in tears. Dad, what happened? Chin Chu asked as soon as he saw him. Little Bean said that she wanted to eat the fried squid and stinky tofu here. I thought about it. Since it was on the way back and it wasn't too far away, I parked my car here and brought them in to shop. When did you find out the kids were missing? After I took them to eat rice noodle rolls, I paid for them, and within a few minutes, they were gone. Dad, didn't you call them right away? I did, but their phones were turned off. Mr. Chin's face was full of self-blame. It's okay, don't worry. Maybe the kids went somewhere else to buy food. Maybe they're still here, Min comforted himself. Sis-in-law. Tang Chuan and I have looked for them many times. They're not on the food street anymore. Did anyone see them? There are so many of them. They shouldn't have mysteriously disappeared. I asked, but they said they didn't see them. There were too many people today. Maybe no one noticed them. Qin Ning pouted, her eyes red. It's all my fault. I'm flying back to the States tonight. If I didn't bring them to the food street, they would be fine. It's all my fault. If anything happened to my granddaughters, I'd die for it. Mr. Qin said, tears rolling down his cheeks. When he was young, Mr. Qin was a tough guy. Now that he was old, he only cared about his children and grandchildren. His 2 daughters were his sweethearts. No matter what the twins did, he couldn't bear to scold them. If they went missing, he wouldn't be able to live. Dad, calm down. Pudding and Little Bean aren't normal kids. They're very smart and have received a lot of education. They won't get into trouble so easily. We need to calm down and think of another way, Min comforted his father-in-law. Dad, Mian is right. Don't panic. Leave this to us. Mom doesn't know about this yet, so don't tell her, Qin Chu said. I'm not going back. I want to wait for Pudding and Little Bean here. Mr. Qin was as stubborn as a child. Brother, sister-in-law, why don't we call the police? There's strength in numbers, Qin Ning suggested. No, this place is different from the States. If the twins are kidnapped, calling the police will be dangerous. If the kidnappers get angry, they'll kill the hostages. Tang Chuan stopped Qin Ning and refused to call the police. I say, Tang Chuan, do you know how to talk? What do you mean by killing the hostage? What danger? If you don't know how to talk, then shut your mouth. Qin Ning was already in a bad mood. Upon hearing what Tang Chuan said, she was furious. She pointed at Tang Chuan's nose and scolded him. You can't blame me. I'm just telling the truth. Tang Chuan looked wronged. Tang Chuan is right. We don't know what's going on yet. We can't call the police blindly. Then, Qin Chu made a phone call. Get me all the surveillance footage of the snack street, Qin Chu ordered with a cold face. Mian, on the other hand, kept calling the kids, but their phones were turned off. Suddenly, she lowered her head and sent a message to Xichen. Xichen, do you have my daughters? Chapter 2689. Mian, would you believe me if I said I didn't? Xichen's tone was very gentle. Upon hearing Xichen's words, Min subconsciously believed him. Xichen had said that he wouldn't touch his daughter. She knew that Min cared about her daughter the most. If he used her daughter to threaten her, then she would rather die than do anything to him. If that happened, then she wouldn't stand a chance in this lifetime. As long as she wasn't in Xichen's hands, things would be much easier. Honey, could it be Ian? Min quietly held Qin Chu's hand and asked in a low voice. No one knew about Ian, so she didn't want to talk about it in public. No, Lu Yan is keeping an eye on Ian. If he came to Sea City, I would know. Qin Chu shook his head, once again denying Min's guess. The truth was, Min was usually smart and calm, but when it came to her children, she became irrational. She was in a state of confusion. The good thing was that Qin Chu was by her side and was her emotional support. Big brother, what should we do? Even if we don't call the police, we can't just sit here and do nothing. You can call Gao Rand and ask him to send people to help us. After all, the more people we have, the more power we have. No, Gao Ran won't be able to help. It's not wise for the authorities to intervene at this time. Qin Chu and Tang Chuan had the same idea. Because they cared about the children, they didn't want to take the risk. Even if the police didn't intervene in a high-profile way, once they did, the nature of the situation would change. To put it bluntly, if the children were really kidnapped, the police would only anger the kidnappers. Chin-Chu thought that it would be better to wait for the kidnappers to call them. If they hadn't been kidnapped, the twins would have gone home by themselves. Pudding and Little Bean were so smart that they wouldn't have gotten lost. They would have asked for help. Chin-Chu's heart was also in a mess, but when everyone was in a mess, he still had to remain calm. After all, if it was a mess, there would be no way to save his daughter. At this moment, Chin-Chu's phone rang. Seeing that it was a call from his subordinate, Chin-Chu picked up the phone calmly. President Chin, we've turned off all the surveillance cameras. All the surveillance cameras on the food street stopped working today. We couldn't find anything. We've asked a lot of people, but none of them have seen Miss Pudding and Miss Little Bean. How is that possible? My dad personally brought the children here. This is a fact, but those people actually said that they didn't see them. If they were ordinary children, it would be fine, but the twins are very obvious everywhere. How could they not see them? Chin-Chu was a little annoyed. Then we will continue to ask. The subordinate hung up the phone. Chin-Chu's face darkened. Hubby, what should we do now? Do we really have to keep waiting? Huamin's heart was hanging in the air, and it was extremely torturous. Dad, where was the last place you guys ate? That one over there. Grandpa Chin pointed at a small restaurant not far away. Chin-Chu strode over, and the others followed closely behind him. Boss, my dad just brought my kids here to eat. When they were paying the bill, the kids were gone. Did anyone in your restaurant notice? Chin-Chu asked. Oh. Are you talking about a pair of little girls who look exactly the same? The boss asked. Yes, that's them. Do you know where they went? Chin-Chu was pleasantly surprised. It seemed like the boss knew something. Chapter 2690. The kids' grandpa was paying the bill and I was so focused on the money that I didn't notice where the kids went. What happened? Did they go missing? The owner spoke with a country accent. Boss, my daughters are missing. If you saw them, please tell us, Huamin begged. Chin-Chu put his arm around his wife's shoulder and comforted her. Oh, that's a pity. Those girls are so pretty. If they're targeted by human traffickers, they'll be in trouble. You guys don't understand the current situation. It's popular to kidnap girls and sell them. Boys aren't worth much because there are a lot of villages in the mountains in Yungue. Many men can't find wives, and adult women are hard to kidnap. Even if they're kidnapped, they'll run away. So, a few years ago, people started buying young girls and raising them as their wives when they're 15 or 16 years old. Some people even buy child brides for their sons. It's very backward. Last month, a 6-year-old girl went missing here. They haven't been found yet. She's so pretty. The owner rambled on. The more they listened, the more scared they became. In the end, Qin Ning couldn't help but interrupt. Hey, do you know where my nieces are? If you don't know, then don't say such useless things. Can't you see that my family is scared to death? Who are you trying to scare? Can't you say something more auspicious? Hey, girl, how can you talk to me like that? Don't you have any manners? The owner was furious. Boss, can you go ask your employees if they've seen my daughters? Huamin's tone was gentle, as if she didn't want to let go of any useful clues. You're a nice guy. Wait here, I'll go and ask. After saying that, the boss called out the waiters and kitchen staff in the restaurant. The twin girls that came to the shop today, the pretty one. Did any of you see where they went after that? Oh, the twins. I saw them, an auntie in the kitchen said. Where? Huamin and Qin Chu were both shocked. They left through the side door, over there. The auntie pointed at an inconspicuous side door. Thank you. Huamin rushed over, and Qin Chu took out a few 100 yuan bills and put them in the auntie's hand. Then, the group left. After they left through the side door, Huamin was even more disappointed. This was because there was a complicated alley here. It was the old-fashioned kind that hadn't been renovated. There were no cameras, and there were very few people. It was just a place for a snack bar to dump their trash. The entire alley was filled with a fishy smell. How are we going to find them? Sis-in-law, could it be that they don't want to go back to the States, so they ran away on purpose to get rid of us and find a place to hide? Tang Chuan asked. No, in the past, maybe because they wanted to have fun or because they didn't want to leave us. But last time, when they were in the States, they ran out to buy gifts for Su Yu and scared Ning. After that, I had a long talk with them. No matter what, they can't leave without permission. This is a promise I made with Pudding and Little Bean. Pudding is a girl who keeps her promises, so I don't believe that they left out of selfishness. I think they're in trouble. Huamin's eyes turned red as tears welled up in his eyes. He looked very pitiful. Chapter 2691. Mian, I'm so sorry. I was too careless. Tears streamed down Mr. Qin's face. When the twins were taken away by Huamin last time, Huamin went crazy. Now, the tragedy was happening again. How could she bear it? Honey, stay strong. Our daughters will be fine. They're so smart. Even if they're in danger, they'll be able to protect themselves. Don't be sad. How can you collapse before the kids come back? Qin Chu didn't care if Hua Xichen was listening in on them. He put his arm around Huamin's waist and comforted her softly. But she couldn't hear anything at the moment. Well, corporation headquarters, that bitch finally made her move. Boss, should we help save them? Maybe Miss Hua will be grateful to you, Aching suggested. No, she won't be grateful to me. In this situation, there's nothing I can do. It's better to wait and see. Then, will they kill the twins? Aching guessed. Not yet. She went through so much trouble to kidnap the twins. It's not as simple as killing them. She wants revenge, Hua Xichen said calmly. Hua Xichen seemed to have predicted that the twins would go missing, because he had an important clue in his hands. However, Huamin and Qin Chu didn't notice it. Maybe they were too careless. Boss, after they deal with Qin Chu and Miss Hua, they'll definitely come after you for revenge. She won't be able to wait until then. We don't need to do anything. Let's just watch them fight. Aching, you're too uneducated. You're so wise, boss. Aching knew what his boss was thinking and didn't say anything else. Huamin, Qin Chu, and the others searched the food street for an entire day but found nothing. No one mentioned that they flew to the States that night. At night, Qin Ning and Tang Chuan went out to find some friends to see if they could get some information. When Qin Chu and Huamin came back, Mama Qin asked in confusion, "You're back. Where are the children?" Huamin's heart skipped a beat when he heard the word child. At this moment, Qin Chu replied, "They're staying at Grandma's house tonight. They won't be coming back." That's not right. Didn't they say that they would be flying back to the US with us at 10 o'clock? These two brats always wanted to eat the Chow family's cakes. I purposely asked someone to buy a lot of them and planned to bring them on the plane. Mama Qin pointed at some local specialties on the ground and said happily. Mom, the matter in America is temporarily put aside. Are there any changes to the itinerary? It won't be too late for you to go after I arrange it. Chin-Chu said. I see. Then why didn't you say so earlier? You made me buy these things for nothing. Since we're not leaving, let's eat first. Mom, I'm not feeling well. I'm not eating. You guys go ahead. Huamin walked upstairs with a pale face. Chin-Chu followed Huamin upstairs. Honey, do you want some porridge? No, I'm going to lie down in the study. Mr. Chin's face was also filled with sadness. That's weird. What's wrong with everyone today? They all look like they're crying. Mama Chin didn't know how to react because she didn't expect the twins to go missing. Inside a high-end clubhouse, when Tang Chuan and Qin Ning walked in, Su Yu and Wei Liao were already there. They had already finished a bottle. Hey! Why are you here? Shouldn't you be going to the airport at this time? Wei Liao looked at his watch and smiled. I can't go. Something happened, Tang Chuan said with a serious face. What happened? Why do you look so serious? Wei Liao was still joking. The twins are missing. After Tang Chuan said this, Su Yu suddenly stood up from the sofa. Chapter 2692. What did you just say? Su Yu was shocked. The twins are missing. We've been looking for them all day. Ha, no way, don't joke like that. Wei Liao thought Tang Chuan was playing a prank on him. Just then, Qin Ning, who was standing behind Tang Chuan, began to cry. She silently wiped her tears. It can't be true, right? The twins are gone. Wei Liao was also dumbfounded. Tang Chuan nodded. Su Yu walked over and grabbed Tang Chuan's arm. What happened? Where did they go? When did they go? Who did they go with? Which direction did they go? Did you see clearly? Lord Su, it would be easier if you knew, but the problem is, we don't have any leads. Ning, Chin-Chu, and I have been looking for them all day. Huamin is worried sick. Tang Chuan's voice was very low when he mentioned Huamin. He knew that Su Yu cared a lot about Huamin's feelings. Sure enough, Su Yu's expression changed when he heard that Huamin was worried sick. How could that be? They're so smart, how could they get lost? They can't get lost even in the States, especially Pudding. She knows 12 languages. She can't get lost anywhere in the world. Su Yu was a bit agitated. So it's impossible for them to get lost. They were probably kidnapped, Tang Chuan analyzed. After hearing this, Su Yu suddenly let go of Tang Chuan's arm. Damn it, who dares to touch the twins? I'm going to kill him. Su Yu lost his mind. Lord Su, it's not a matter of killing him or not. We just don't know where to start. Tang Chuan said helplessly. Wei Liao also stood up and put out the cigarette in his hand. That shouldn't be the case. What era are we in now? Transportation is so advanced, and there are cameras everywhere. The two children can't have disappeared into thin air. It's not like we're writing a fantasy novel or traveling through time. Stop talking nonsense. That's true, but we've been looking for clues all day, and Chin-Chu doesn't want to call the police. We don't want to make a big deal out of it. If things get out of hand, the children might be in danger. So what he's saying now is that he's going to sit and wait for death. Are we just waiting for the kidnappers to call us? Su Yu asked angrily. Tang Chuan nodded. Stupid cunt. How could they continue to wait like this? What if it wasn't a kidnapper? What if it was an enemy seeking revenge? What if they didn't call and directly killed the child? At a time like this, we can't delay any longer. We have to race against time to find him. Suyu was frantic as well. It's easy for you to say, but where are we going to find him? That's my brother's biological daughter. How could he not be worried? Qi Ning heard Suyu's angry tone and was very angry. She directly retorted back at Suyu, scaring Tang Chuan so much that he immediately grabbed her hand and told her to stop talking. Luckily, Suyu wasn't an unreasonable person and didn't argue with Qi Ning. I'll think of a way right now. The two of you, too. Use all your connections to find him. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you have to find the child for me. I don't believe that there's anyone here who has the ability to take him away without anyone noticing. Has the city been sealed off? Wei Liao suddenly thought of this and asked. Yes, my brother contacted Gao Ran. All the exits of the city, even the dirt roads, are sealed off. No matter who took the children, they definitely can't get out. But I'm afraid they'll be in danger. Qi Ning's eyes turned red as she spoke. Chapter 2693. That's good. At least we can narrow down the search area. Wei Liao nodded and said meaningfully. Did Qin Chu give Little Bean and putting the GPS coordinates on their phones? Suyu looked up at Tang Chuan. Yes, but I can't find it. Someone must have tampered with it, Tang Chuan replied. Damn. It seems like these kidnappers are not friendly. They even brought signal jammers and blocked the GPS coordinates. Wei Liao cursed. Okay, let's split up and look for them. If you find any clues, call me immediately. Then, Suyu hurried downstairs, no longer in the mood to drink. Inside the courtyard of a small house in the suburbs, Pudding and Little Bean were playing house with a little girl. The little girl seemed to be having a lot of fun, but the twins weren't paying attention. Sis, when can we leave? I feel like we're very far away from home. Little Bean asked in a low voice. Shoo, don't talk. Pudding raised her finger to stop Little Bean from talking. At noon, the two sisters followed their grandfather to the snack street. When their grandfather was paying the bill, the two sisters walked over to the restaurant. Little Bean saw Tian being carried by a strange man through the side door, so she told her sister about it. Then, out of curiosity, the twins ran out to check. However, as soon as they walked out, they were covered by a sack. Then, they were drugged and fell asleep. When they woke up at night, they found themselves in a sealed car. After a bumpy ride, they arrived at this place. They didn't know where they were. Pudding was always calm, so she wasn't scared. Little Bean, on the other hand, was anxious because it was dark and they couldn't go home. Tian, where's your mom? Pudding suddenly asked. Mom's at work. Do you know the man who carried you today? Pudding asked again. Tian was about to speak when the door was unlocked. A short, thin, and dark-skinned man walked in. He looked quite old, about 40 years old. Let's eat, he said in broken Mandarin. After that, he placed the 2 plates on the table. There are 3 of us. Why are you only giving us 2 portions? Can you fill your stomach? Little Bean was quite dissatisfied. Come on, you're still in the mood to eat at a time like this. Pudding looked at her sister speechlessly. At this time, the man didn't say anything. He picked up Tian and walked out. Hey, what are you doing? Let go of my friend. Where are you taking her? Little Bean followed Huomian. She grabbed the man's clothes, but to her surprise, the man flung her to the ground. "Aw!" Little Bean screamed and fell to the ground. Her butt was blooming. After the man carried Tian out, he heard the door being locked again. "Little Bean, are you okay?" Pudding was no longer as calm as she usually was when she saw that her little sister was hurt. He hurriedly ran over and helped Little Bean up. "Sis, that bad guy took Tian away. What should we do? Will Tian be in danger? Auntie Yen Yen saved our lives. I don't want anything to happen to Tian. Sis, you're smart. Think of something." It was the first time Little Bean was so anxious about someone else's matter that she almost cried. "Little Bean, don't worry. I'll tell you later." Then, Pudding began to look around the room. "Sis, what are you looking for?" "I'll help you." Little Bean covered her butt and walked over. Chapter 2694. Listening Devices. Let me see if there are any listening devices in the house. You're afraid someone is watching us? Yeah. Pudding nodded cautiously. How is that possible? We're 3-year-old kids in the eyes of those adults. They wouldn't put a listening device on us, Pudding said. It's better to be cautious. Then, Pudding checked the house carefully. After making sure there were no listening devices, she sat down at the table. Sis, can you tell us now? I think Tian knows that person. Knows who? Pudding was confused. Tian should know the man just now, huh? No way. Isn't that a bad guy? How can Tian know a bad guy? You mean Tian is bait to lure us in? Pudding wasn't stupid and immediately understood what her sister meant. Yeah, something like that. No way. Sis, how did you know? Pudding was shocked. First, when we first saw Tian at the food street, she didn't cry when a strange man hugged her, right? Yeah. Pudding nodded. Second, Tian is like us. If she was kidnapped, she would be anxious to leave home and her mom. She wouldn't be in the mood to play with building blocks. Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Pudding suddenly understood. Third, before that person came in, Tian probably wanted to say something to us, but before she could say anything, that person came in. Also, from the way Tian looked at that person, it didn't seem like she was looking at a stranger or a bad guy. I can't tell what their relationship is for now, but they probably know each other. Otherwise, Tian would have resisted. You're right. Continue. Anything else? Sis. Pudding loved it when her sister turned into Sherlock Holmes. It was so cool. Fourthly, and finally, the person who came in just now carried Tian out. Note, he carried her, like an adult carrying a child, not a kidnapper carrying a hostage, so I can be sure that they know each other. Wow, Qin Zhao Zhao, you're getting better and better. Your IQ is growing. It shouldn't be, we eat the same food and use the same things every day. Why haven't I improved? Little Bean laughed. That's because you're so focused on eating that you're too lazy to think. Pudding glanced at her sister and said, Ha ha ha, you know me best. But, sister, what should we do now? My phone has been taken away by them, and I can't contact the outside world. If we don't go back now, Daddy and Mommy must be worried sick, especially Grandpa. He'll definitely be worried sick when he doesn't see us after paying the bill. There's nothing we can do in this situation. We can only take one step at a time, Pudding said. That's not right, sis. You said Tian knows that person. That means Tian Tian is in cahoots with the kidnappers. Tian Tian is Auntie Yen Yen's daughter and Auntie Yen Yen is Mommy's good friend. She wouldn't do something like that. It doesn't make sense. I can't figure it out yet. I also don't think Auntie Yen Yen would do something like that. But maybe she did it because Mommy or her husband's company is competing with Daddy's company. That doesn't make sense. No matter what the reason is, Auntie Yen Yen wouldn't do something like that. I'm not Auntie Yen Yen. I don't know what's going on. Sis, what should we do now? Pudding blinked her big eyes and looked at her sister. Chapter 2695. Let's eat. Let's eat first. We can't go hungry. Then, Pudding pulled 2 small bowls over. She pushed one to her little sister and pulled the other to herself. The food wasn't very good. Half of it was white rice, and the other half was vegetables. There were only 2 dishes, stir-fried radish and shredded eggplant. What the hell? I can't even see a piece of meat. Little Bean didn't like meat, so when she saw that there was no meat, her appetite was greatly reduced. Chin Mumu, do you think this is a vacation? You're picky about the food. We're kidnapped, do you understand? Pudding emphasized. Even if they're kidnapped, they should give us better food. These kidnappers just want a ransom from Daddy. Humph, the food they gave me is so bad. When Daddy pays the ransom, I'll tell Daddy to deduct tens of millions from them. I'll give them a bad review for the food. Little Bean was still able to joke at a time like this. She had to admit that she had a good mentality. Pudding didn't have to worry about her little sister's fear and comfort her. The 2 sisters ate face to face. Sis, why are we so unlucky? Damn it, we've been in this world for less than 4 years, and we've been kidnapped twice. That's an average of 1.5 years. Even the President of the United States doesn't have a higher probability than us, right? Little Bean complained. It can't be helped. Daddy and Mommy are such powerful figures. You're right. If Daddy and Mommy were ordinary people, maybe, we wouldn't be in so much trouble, Little Bean said. But you wouldn't be able to enjoy so much wealth. Do you want to play a piano that costs tens of millions? Do you want to eat a steak dinner that costs hundreds of thousands? Do you want to eat dessert and ice cream that costs thousands? Wear a dress that costs hundreds of thousands? Do you want to drive a sports car that costs tens of millions and live in a house that costs hundreds of millions? Pudding fired back. Well, you're right. Everything has its pros and cons. God is fair. Little Bean sighed slightly. Many princesses and princes even died before they could grow up. That's why it's said that to enjoy glory and wealth, one has to bear the brunt of bloodshed. It's the same for us. Those people say that we're children born with a silver spoon in our mouths. But the moment we're born, we become Daddy and Mommy's weakness. Their enemies will think of ways to use us to threaten them. That's why we have to be more careful in the future. We have to protect ourselves. Only by protecting ourselves can we be responsible for Daddy and Mommy and not let them worry about us. Sis, you're right. The princes and princes of the ancient times seem to be living a good life, but they're actually murderous. When we watched the Qing dynasty dramas, the most talked about the sons of Emperor Kangxi hiding from the throne. Come to think of it, they're even more pitiful than us. They have many brothers, but in the end, only one of them can get the throne. We're just a little richer than ordinary people. Relatively speaking, we're very lucky. Sis, I suddenly thought of a problem. What problem? Pudding picked up a small spoon and put a mouthful of rice into her mouth. Then, she looked at her sister. He originally thought that this woman had already fled upon hearing the news and disappeared without a trace, not daring to come out again. However, he did not expect that she had secretly returned to the country 5 days ago and had even brought back a fugitive. He Yongjun, male, 45 years old, Chinese. 15 years ago, because of a murder, he fled to Vietnam. There, he had been doing business without anyone seeing him. At that time, Shinjiani's lover had died in the hands of the Vietnam gang. After that, Shinjiani hooked up with He Yongjun through the prostitution business in the nightclub. Finally, they found an opportunity to come back to China. This time, they only had 2 goals. First, to kidnap the twins and avenge Huasi. Second, to get a big sum of money and escape to Canada. There was no place for them in Vietnam. "Grandma, why did you lock up my sisters?" Tian asked innocently. Chapter 2697. "Oh, I'm playing a game with the twins." "Don't worry, Tian. Shinjiani patted Tian's head. "But they're locked in there. They'll be scared." Tian clenched her teeth and said. Adults only knew the pros and cons. Children only cared about right and wrong. Tian was a child and only looked at the most direct things. Huamin took care of her a lot and she often played with the twins. Therefore, she didn't know what was going on when she saw the twins locked in there. They won't be scared. It's just a game. Hurry up and eat. Don't worry about it, okay? After all, Tian was her biological grandchild, so Shinjiani patiently coaxed her. "Grandma, you can't do this. The kindergarten teacher said that there's a limit to playing games. You'll scare the kids. Auntie Huamin won't be happy." "Auntie Huamin? Who told you to call that bitch that?" Shinjiani blamed Huamin for Huasi's death, so she hated her. "Mom told me. Auntie Huamin is a good person. She bought me a lot of beautiful clothes and toys." "What do you know? That woman isn't a good person." Shinjiani pulled a long face. "No, Grandma. Auntie Huamin is Mom's good friend." Tian tried to correct her grandma. Shinjiani was furious. Tian, shut up. You're not allowed to say that again. From now on, you're not allowed to call that bitch auntie. Did you know that your uncle, my good son, C, was killed by her? We have an irreconcilable grudge against her. From now on, you're not allowed to mention her name. Perhaps because Shinjiani was too emotional, her voice was also very loud. Tian was so scared that she started crying. "Shut up. Stop crying. You're so annoying." He Yongjun scolded impatiently as he drank. A few days ago, Shinjiani's arrival had made Hui Yanyan extremely happy. That's right, she was Hui Yanyan's last family member in this world. Both Hui Zhenghai and Hui Xiqin were dead, and Hui Si was an adopted son. Neither was Hui Min, therefore, Hui Yanyan was very happy to see her mother back. Not only did her mother forgive her for taking a strange man with her, but she also took her to the shopping mall to buy a lot of jewelry and clothes. Hui Yanyan was living a relatively prosperous life after she married Shin Mingxi. Tian was especially affectionate when she heard that it was her grandmother. Hence, Hui Yanyan went to work at the Shin Corporation these days to help Shin Mingxi. So, Shinjiani took care of the house, including the children. Unexpectedly, Shinjiani and He Yongjun were plotting to kidnap Huamin's twins. Tian was too young to know anything. Therefore, when He Yongjun picked her up and used her as bait, she didn't know how to make a sound. Therefore, the twins were successfully baited. Hyeongjun was not only ruthless, but also very smart. This was also the reason why he was able to survive in a place like Vietnam where he was unfamiliar with the people and the land. Although Shin Jiani told Tian Tian to call Hyeongjun grandpa, the little girl was still afraid. This was because she didn't see any love in the man's eyes. In fact, whenever she cried, the man would become impatient. Tian Tian was very afraid of the man, so after he called her name, Tian Tian didn't dare to cry. Half an hour later, Hui Yan arrived by car. She was alone. "Mom, why did you ask me to come so far away?" Hui Yan didn't know that her mother wanted her to come here to relax. Chapter 2698. Yan, guess who your Uncle June and I caught? Shin Jiani said proudly. Who did you catch? Hui Yan was a little confused. There's a door mirror over there. Take a look. Shin Jiani smiled as she pointed at the locked room. Hyeongjun still didn't say anything. There was only a plate of peanuts and white wine left on the table. He was still drinking and didn't make a sound. No one knew what he was thinking. Hui Yan was confused. She walked over and looked through the door mirror. Her face changed drastically. Mom, are you crazy? Do you know who they are? Hui Yan was shocked. Silly girl, if I knew who they were, would I catch them? Shin Jiani looked up. Mom, do you want to die? They're Chin Chu and Hwamin's children. If something happens to them, we'll die a horrible death. Hui Yan directly explained the pros and cons. Nonsense, how can we die? If anything, it's their entire family that's going to die. Mom, you can't do this. Hwamin took good care of me. I can't do this to her children. These twins are Hwamin's sweethearts. After becoming a mother, Hui Yan understood how a mother felt about her children. Therefore, she was very opposed to what her mother was doing. That's why I have to catch them. Yan, you only remember that bitch Hwamin took good care of you. Don't forget how your brother died. Mom, my brother's death has nothing to do with Hwamin. Don't try to lie to me. If it wasn't for her, C wouldn't have died so tragically. My poor son, he's still single. Shin Jiani's face was filled with tears when she spoke of Hwasi. Mom, C shouldn't have done what he did. He was set up by the Vietnamese gang. They used him as a tool to extort money from Chin Chu and Hwamin. But we can't do these illegal things. We don't need money now. After Mingxi and I get married, I can confidently ask him to give me some money and buy you a house. You can stay here and take care of the kids. Isn't that great? Some money. What can you do with that little money? Childish. Hyeongjun sneered at Hui Yan. How much do you want? Hui Yan asked angrily. $1 billion. Is your nouveau riche boyfriend willing to help? Hyeongjun asked contemptuously. $1 billion. Are you kidding me? Why do you want so much money? Hui Yan's mouth was wide open. Who doesn't want to live a better life when they have more money? Yeah, Yan, your Uncle June is thinking for us. We've already thought about it. Once we get the ransom, we'll go to Canada and live there. You and Tian Tian can come and visit us. If that Shin brat doesn't treat you well, you can come and join us. You're so stupid, you have to leave yourself a way out. I've lived with your father for so many years, but I didn't give him my whole heart. Shin Jiani and Hyeongjun were echoing each other. Hui Yan suddenly realized that the situation was out of her control. Mom, promise me that you'll let the kids go once you get the ransom. Don't hurt them, I'm a mother too. I know how it feels to lose your kids. Let them go. Are you kidding me? Yen Yen, when did you become so soft-hearted? I came back this time to take the risk and avenge your brother. Once we get the ransom, we'll kill the twins immediately, Shinjiani said viciously. Chapter 2699. Mom, how did you become like this? Hui Yanyan looked at Shinjiani in disbelief. I've always been like this, Yanyan. You've always been a coward. Shinjiani didn't care. Mom, you can't say that. You're a mother too. You can't do such a cruel thing. The twins are still young and shouldn't be involved in the grudges between adults. Hui Yanyan left the scene awkwardly. Her relationship with Huamin wasn't as good as it used to be. She was labeled as a scheming bitch. However, she wasn't as vicious as Shinjiani. Plus, she only used small tricks. She never thought of killing or breaking the law. Hui Yanyan couldn't accept that her mother was going to kill the twins after she got the ransom. Young. Innocent. Then what about my C? What about your brother? Who's going to pay with his life? Mom, C deserved it. He did something bad to get what he did, Hui Yanyan argued with her mother in a loud voice. Bastard. Shinjiani slapped Hui Yanyan across the face. Hui Yanyan's face was burning. How did I raise a piece of trash like you? When we left, you didn't want to go with us. You insisted on staying in China. Look at Hua Xichen and Huamin. Those two bastards are living the lives of the upper class. Yen Yen, don't you understand? This is still the law of the jungle. This is still a world where the strong prey on the weak. If we don't do this, they won't let us go. You probably don't know this, but after Si died, that little bitch Hua Mian didn't give up. She even sent people to Vietnam to kill me. Not only did they destroy the Vietnamese gang's headquarters, I almost died in the hands of those killers. Those killers don't even blink when they kill people. Even the children in the Vietnamese gang weren't spared. If it wasn't for your Uncle Jun, I wouldn't be here today. Shinjiani's eyes were bloodshot as she recalled what happened back then. Hui Yanyan opened her mouth wide and looked at her mother in disbelief. Mom, what you said, is it all true? How? How is this possible? Mian isn't the kind of person to be so ruthless. Hui Yanyan did not think that she was stupid. After knowing Huamin for so many years, if she wanted to kill her, she would have dealt with her a long time ago. Why would she not do anything? What do you know? You've been deceived by that little bitch's appearance. She has always been very scheming. Otherwise, how could she have plotted against our family step by step with Hua Xichen and caused us to end up in this state? Mom, but Huamin didn't bully me during the years you and my brother were away. Even after my brother died, she didn't kill him. How do you explain that? Hui Yanyan still refused to believe it. She said that for herself. First of all, she wanted to use you to bait me. You might not know this, but Qin Chu's spies are everywhere. When your Uncle Jun and I came back, not only did we have to sneak in, but we also had to go through a lot of places. We were afraid that they would find us. Also, you're not the same as before. You have the support of that kid from the Shin family. Of course, Huamin won't dare to touch you easily, Shinjiani explained. I still don't believe that Huamin would do that. Hui Yanyan felt that Huamin would not do something as crazy as going to Vietnam and slaughtering people. There was really no need for that. Enough, don't say any more. He Yongjun slammed the table and stood up. Tian Tian was so scared that she shivered and hid in Hui Yanyan's arms. Chapter 2700. Big Brother June, don't be angry. Yan Yan is stubborn. I have to explain everything to her. Xinjiani seemed to be afraid of this man. What's there to explain? I've already made up my mind and no one can change it. If your daughter is afraid, she can choose not to participate. But if she finds out, don't blame me for being ruthless. After speaking, the man glanced sideways at Hui Yanyan and her daughter. His gaze was so cold and fierce that little Tian Tian was so scared that she kept retreating. Hui Yanyan was also scared out of her wits. Hey, Big Brother June, what are you talking about? No matter how bad Yan Yan is, she's still my daughter. With this kind of relationship, what are you worried about? Plus, we've already planned everything out and we don't need Yan Yan's help. As for finding out, she definitely won't do it. She'll definitely watch her mother die, right, Yan Yan? Xinjiani smiled like a blooming flower. She turned around and glanced at Hui Yanyan. Then, she kept winking at Xinjiani, telling her to say something nice so that she wouldn't anger the outlaw Hyungjun. Hui Yanyan wasn't stupid. Naturally, she didn't dare to anger this man. I won't help you, but I won't tell anyone. That's good. Hyungjun took out a cigarette and lit it. The atmosphere seemed to have eased a little. Mom, I'm leaving with the kids. They have to go to school tomorrow. Hui Yanyan was about to leave. Before Xinjiani could say anything, Hyungjun immediately yelled, No, you can't leave. Why? Hui Yanyan froze. I don't trust you. I don't trust anyone. Now that you know where the twins are hiding, how can I let you go? I told you, I won't tell anyone. Hui Yanyan raised her voice and retorted angrily. I don't trust you, Hyungjun said through gritted teeth. You. Hui Yanyan wanted to argue with her, but Xinjiani pulled her back. All right. Since your Uncle June won't let you leave, you and the child can stay here for now. It's not like there's no place to stay. You can leave with the child after we change to a new hiding place tomorrow. It won't be too late for you to leave with the child. You want to go somewhere else? Hui Yanyan frowned. That's right. Qin Chu and Huamin are so smart. They'll find this place very soon. We have to change every day to keep our whereabouts secret. Hui Yanyan gritted her teeth and didn't say anything. She picked up her phone and made a call as she said, since we can't go back, we should at least give Mingxi a call and let him know. Otherwise, he'll be worried. But before she could dial the number, Hyungjun snatched the phone away and smashed it on the ground. What are you doing? Hui Yanyan roared. I can't call, and my phone can't be turned on. Hearing Hyungjun's words, Hui Yanyan finally understood. He was afraid that he would be targeted. He was indeed cunning. Yan, just listen to your Uncle June this once. Don't cause trouble. Xinjiani was obviously speaking up for that man. Mommy, I'm scared. Tian Tian was so scared that she hugged her mother's thigh tightly. Don't be scared. Mommy's here. Yan, take the child to that room and rest. We'll leave tomorrow morning. You and the child can go home. Xinjiani said. Mom, do we really have to do this? Hui Yanyan thought that if this didn't work out, her mother would end up like her brother. Qin Chu would definitely not let them go. Even their first aid techniques were not inferior to those of professional nurses. This was the way of survival that their mother had taught them. Pudding didn't expect it to come in handy so soon. We don't care about that. We are only responsible for asking your parents for money. Hyungjun glanced at the two children mercilessly. But if we die, you won't get a penny. My daddy and mommy won't give you any money if they don't see you alive. You're not dead yet, right? You won't die if you hit your head. Don't worry, don't be so pretentious, Shin Jiani interrupted. Pudding picked up a bowl on the table and smashed it. She quickly picked up a piece of broken rice and pressed it against her neck. If I die now, I promise you, you won't get a penny, and you'll die a horrible death. Pudding's eyes were very calm and collected. Even adults like Shinjiani and Hyungjun were a little flustered. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.